Have you ever wondered why some people walk into a room and instantly command respect without wearing designer labels, flashing expensive watches, or trying to prove anything at all? It isn't always about wealth. It isn't always about appearance. More often than not, it begins with something so ordinary that most people overlook it every single day. Hygiene. Not the kind taught as a checklist in childhood, but the kind that quietly reveals discipline, character, and a lifetime of self-respect. The truth is that people notice far more than they admit. They notice your breath before your words. They notice your hands before your handshake. They notice the freshness of your presence before they ever judge the price of your clothes. These details speak a language that money alone can never learn. There is a quiet confidence carried by those who understand that refinement is not purchased. It is practiced. They don't chase attention because they don't need to. Their habits speak long before they do. While many people focus on looking wealthy through brands and trends, those raised with lasting values understand that true class is often invisible. It lives in consistency. It appears in routines repeated every morning without applause. It is found in the discipline of taking care of yourself, even when no one is watching. Today's world has become obsessed with appearances. Social media teaches us to buy more, wear more, and show more. But genuine sophistication has never depended on any of those things. It begins with respecting your own body, your own environment, and the people around you. A clean appearance is not about perfection. It is a quiet promise that you value yourself enough to care for the smallest details. And those smallest details often leave the biggest impression. In this speech, you'll discover 9 hygiene habits that quietly distinguish those who project timeless elegance from those who rely only on outward displays of success. These are not expensive secrets. They don't require luxury products or an unlimited budget. They require awareness, discipline, and consistency. By the end, you'll realize that the strongest impression you can leave isn't created by what you own. It's created by the habits you repeat every single day. The first thing that separates timeless elegance from ordinary appearance is not the logo stitched onto a shirt or the price tag hanging from a jacket. It is cleanliness. People often believe that wealth announces itself through luxury, but those who have grown up around lasting prosperity understand that true refinement begins long before clothing enters the picture. A spotless appearance, fresh skin, clean hands, neatly maintained hair, and a subtle sense of freshness create an impression that expensive fashion alone can never achieve. This is because cleanliness communicates discipline, self-respect, and attention to detail without saying a single word. It is a silent language that everyone understands, regardless of culture, age, or background. Many middle-class consumers are encouraged to believe that looking successful requires constantly buying new clothes, chasing trends, or wearing recognizable brands. Marketing convinces people that image can be purchased. Yet those who understand enduring sophistication know that a perfectly clean, well-maintained plain white shirt often leaves a stronger impression than an expensive designer outfit that looks wrinkled, stained, or neglected. The difference is not the cost of the clothing, but the care behind it. When every detail appears intentional, people naturally associate that person with confidence and reliability. Cleanliness also reflects consistency rather than occasional effort. Anyone can prepare themselves for a special event, but truly refined individuals maintain the same standards every day. They do not wait until an important meeting or celebration to care about personal hygiene. They understand that habits shape identity, and identity influences how the world responds. A polished appearance is not created in one morning. It is built through countless small decisions repeated over weeks, months, and years. These routines become so natural that they no longer require extra thought. They simply become part of who the person is. One of the greatest misconceptions about elegance is that it depends on expensive products. In reality, cleanliness requires far more discipline than money. Keeping clothes freshly washed, shoes clean, nails trimmed, hair neat, and skin properly cared for does not demand luxury. It demands consistency. Someone with modest resources but excellent hygiene often appears more distinguished than someone wearing luxury items without proper grooming. This quiet contrast explains why some individuals seem effortlessly sophisticated while others appear as though they are trying too hard. People also underestimate how quickly the human mind forms impressions. Within moments of meeting someone, others begin noticing subtle details. Is the person's appearance fresh? Do they seem organized? Does their presence feel clean and pleasant? These observations happen almost automatically. They influence trust, credibility, and likability before conversations have a chance to develop. Cleanliness creates comfort. It allows others to focus on your ideas instead of being distracted by avoidable signs of neglect. This invisible advantage follows people into interviews, business meetings, friendships, and everyday interactions. There is also a deeper psychological effect that cleanliness creates within the individual. Waking up each day and taking time to care for yourself reinforces a powerful internal message that you matter. When people neglect personal hygiene, they often begin neglecting other responsibilities as well. But when they consistently maintain themselves, they strengthen self-discipline across many areas of life. Personal care becomes more than appearance. It becomes a daily exercise in responsibility, respect, and self-control. That quiet confidence becomes visible in posture, eye contact, and behavior, making elegance feel authentic rather than performed. True sophistication has always favored subtlety over excess. It does not seek applause through flashy displays or expensive labels. Instead, it allows simple cleanliness to create an atmosphere of confidence that cannot be purchased. A person who values impeccable hygiene sends a message that they respect themselves, appreciate those around them, and understand that lasting impressions are built not through extravagance, but through the quiet discipline of caring for the smallest details every single day. One of the most noticeable differences between those who embody timeless refinement and those who merely chase the appearance of success is the consistency of their daily grooming. It is never dramatic, never loud, and never designed to attract attention. Instead, it is quiet, intentional, and dependable. Their appearance does not change depending on whether they are attending an important event or running a simple errand. They understand that personal presentation is not a performance reserved for special occasions. It is a reflection of their standards, and standards remain steady regardless of who is watching. This quiet consistency creates an image of confidence that cannot be imitated by expensive purchases or occasional efforts. Many people associate grooming with vanity, but true grooming has very little to do with seeking compliments. It is about showing respect for yourself and for everyone you encounter. A neatly combed hairstyle, a clean shave or well-maintained beard, moisturized skin, trimmed eyebrows, and fresh clothing all communicate that you take responsibility for your appearance. None of these habits demand luxury products or professional styling every week. They require attention, discipline, and the willingness to care about details that most people overlook. Over time, these simple actions become automatic, creating a polished presence that feels natural rather than forced. Those who come from environments where refinement is valued often learn that grooming is part of everyday life, not something done to impress others. They do not wait until someone points out a flaw before correcting it. They regularly check their appearance because they believe prevention is better than repair. A loose thread is removed before it becomes obvious. Hair is trimmed before it looks untidy. Shoes are cleaned before they appear worn. This proactive mindset reflects a broader philosophy of life. Take care of small things before they become large problems. That same philosophy often extends into their work, relationships, finances, and responsibilities. There is also an important difference between subtle grooming and excessive grooming. People trying too hard to appear wealthy often overdo everything. Strong colognes, elaborate hairstyles, flashy accessories, and overly styled appearances can sometimes communicate insecurity rather than confidence. Individuals with lasting elegance understand that refinement should never overwhelm the room. Their fragrance is light enough that people notice it only during close conversation. Their hairstyle appears neat rather than overly sculpted. Their clothing fits well without demanding attention. Every element works together to create harmony instead of competition. The goal is not to become the center of attention, but to leave behind an impression of effortless care. Daily grooming also influences how a person carries themselves. When you know your appearance is neat and well maintained, you naturally stand taller, make better eye contact, and engage with others more comfortably. Confidence grows because there is no need to worry about untidy hair, wrinkled clothing, or neglected details. This freedom allows you to focus on conversations, opportunities, and relationships rather than becoming distracted by self-consciousness. Grooming, therefore, supports confidence from the inside out instead of creating confidence through external approval. Another overlooked aspect of refined grooming is reliability. People begin to associate consistency in appearance with consistency in character. Someone who consistently presents themselves with care often appears more organized, trustworthy, and dependable. While appearance alone cannot define a person's values, first impressions are powerful, and consistent grooming quietly reinforces positive assumptions. Employers, colleagues, clients, and even strangers often feel more comfortable around individuals who demonstrate attention to personal care, because it suggests that they approach other responsibilities with the same level of discipline. Perhaps the greatest lesson is that genuine refinement never asks for recognition. It exists in routines, repeated every morning without applause and every evening without reward. It is found in the quiet decision to maintain yourself because your standards matter more than public opinion. When grooming becomes an expression of self-respect instead of a strategy for admiration, it transforms from a cosmetic routine into a lifelong habit that shapes how you think, how you behave, and how the world experiences your presence. The smallest details often leave the strongest impressions because they reveal the habits that exist when no one is paying attention. Most people believe others notice the obvious things first. An expensive suit, a luxury handbag, or polished shoes. But human perception works differently. Long before anyone admires your wardrobe, they unconsciously notice the invisible signals of personal care. Fresh breath during a conversation, clean and neatly trimmed nails during a handshake, well-maintained hair, healthy-looking skin, and a subtle, pleasant scent all contribute to an impression that feels natural and trustworthy. These details rarely become the topic of conversation, yet they quietly shape how people remember you. Individuals who project timeless elegance understand that these invisible details are not optional. They are part of everyday life. Before leaving the house, they take a few extra moments to ensure that nothing distracts from their presence. They check their breath, smooth their hair, remove lint from their clothing, and make sure their hands look clean and presentable. None of these actions require significant time or expensive products. They simply require awareness and consistency. While others rush through their morning routines, refined individuals understand that small acts of preparation create lasting confidence throughout the day. Fresh breath, for example, is one of the most overlooked aspects of personal hygiene, yet it has a profound impact on social interactions. Conversations become more comfortable when people feel at ease standing close to you. Poor breath can unintentionally create distance, even when your words are kind and intelligent. On the other hand, a clean and fresh mouth encourages open communication and leaves people feeling relaxed in your company. It is a detail that most people never compliment because they expect it, but they certainly notice when it is missing. The same principle applies to clean hands and neatly maintained nails. Hands are constantly visible. They are used in greetings, gestures, meetings, and countless daily interactions. Well-groomed hands communicate discipline and attention to detail, while neglected nails can suggest carelessness regardless of how expensive someone's clothing may be. This is why many successful professionals pay attention to something as simple as trimming and cleaning their nails regularly. They understand that every visible detail contributes to the overall picture others create in their minds. Hair is another silent messenger. It does not need to follow the latest trends or require hours of styling. It simply needs to appear clean, healthy, and intentional. A simple haircut maintained regularly often appears far more sophisticated than an elaborate style that lacks care. The goal is not perfection, but neatness. When hair looks fresh and well kept, it frames the face in a way that enhances confidence without drawing unnecessary attention. Fragrance is equally important, but true refinement treats it with restraint. A subtle scent that can only be noticed during close conversation creates a feeling of freshness and sophistication. An overpowering fragrance, however, often announces itself before the person enters the room, shifting attention away from character and toward excess. People with lasting elegance understand that perfume or cologne should complement personal hygiene, not replace it. No fragrance can cover poor cleanliness, and attempting to do so usually has the opposite effect. These seemingly invisible habits also reveal something much deeper than appearance. They demonstrate respect for the people around you. When you maintain fresh breath, clean hands, tidy hair, and a pleasant presence, you make social interactions more comfortable for everyone. This consideration reflects emotional maturity and thoughtfulness. It shows that you recognize your presence affects others and that you value those interactions enough to prepare for them. Over time, these small habits become part of a person's identity. They no longer require reminders because they are woven into daily routines. Friends, colleagues, and even strangers begin to associate that individual with reliability, cleanliness, and quiet confidence. They may never consciously list the reasons why, but they instinctively feel comfortable, respected, and at ease. That is the remarkable power of invisible details. They rarely demand attention, yet they quietly shape reputations, strengthen first impressions, and create an image of timeless refinement that speaks long before a single word is ever spoken. One of the greatest misunderstandings about personal hygiene is the belief that it exists to impress other people. In reality, the highest standard of hygiene is rooted in self-respect, not performance. People who carry themselves with quiet confidence do not wake up each morning wondering how to attract attention. Instead, they ask themselves how to honor the standards they have set for their own lives. Their routines are not driven by compliments, social media approval, or the opinions of strangers. They are guided by an inner commitment to discipline and personal responsibility. This mindset creates a level of authenticity that cannot be copied because it comes from within rather than from the desire to be admired. Many people only pay close attention to their appearance when they expect to be seen. Before an important interview, a formal event, or a special gathering, they suddenly become concerned about grooming. But once those moments pass, their habits become inconsistent. This pattern reveals that their motivation depends on external validation. Individuals who embody lasting refinement operate differently. They maintain the same level of care whether they are attending an executive meeting, shopping for groceries, working from home, or spending a quiet day with family. Their standards remain unchanged because they are not performing for an audience. They are simply living according to values they refuse to compromise. This approach reflects a deeper level of emotional maturity. When someone consistently takes care of themselves, they reinforce the belief that they are worthy of care, regardless of recognition. Every shower, every clean outfit, every well-maintained hairstyle, and every thoughtful grooming habit becomes a quiet affirmation of self-worth. These routines communicate something powerful to the mind. I deserve to be cared for, even if no one notices. Over time, this belief strengthens confidence in a way that praise from others never can. Confidence built on external approval disappears when approval fades. Confidence built on self-respect remains steady because it comes from personal discipline rather than public opinion. Hygiene also demonstrates respect for the people we encounter every day. Arriving with fresh breath, clean clothing, and a pleasant appearance sends a silent message that you value the comfort of others. It shows consideration without requiring words. Whether speaking to a coworker, greeting a neighbor, meeting a client, or sitting beside someone on public transportation, your personal care influences the experience of those around you. This is not about striving for perfection, but about recognizing that our habits affect more than ourselves. Thoughtful hygiene reflects kindness, awareness, and consideration for shared spaces and shared moments. There is another reason why hygiene is closely connected to emotional stability. Daily routines create structure, and structure strengthens discipline. People who consistently maintain healthy habits often find it easier to organize other parts of their lives as well. Waking up at a regular time, making the bed, brushing teeth carefully, caring for skin, grooming hair, and putting on clean clothes establish momentum for the rest of the day. These simple actions remind the mind that order is possible even when life becomes stressful or uncertain. Small routines build resilience because they create a sense of control over what can be controlled. Those who quietly project elegance rarely seek admiration through dramatic gestures. They understand that character is revealed through ordinary actions repeated consistently over many years. They know that polished shoes, neat clothing, clean hands, and fresh grooming are not symbols of superiority, but expressions of responsibility. Their appearance reflects the same care they bring to their work, relationships, promises, and personal values. They recognize that true dignity is not measured by luxury possessions or fashionable trends, but by the discipline to uphold personal standards every single day. When hygiene becomes an expression of self-respect instead of a performance for others, it transforms from a routine obligation into a lifelong practice of integrity. It shapes how you think about yourself, influences the confidence you carry into every room, strengthens the trust others place in you, and quietly reminds everyone you meet that genuine class begins with the simple decision to care for yourself, with consistency, purpose, and quiet respect every single day. The greatest mistake many people make when trying to appear sophisticated is believing that elegance can be purchased. They spend large amounts of money on designer clothing, luxury accessories, and the latest trends, hoping these items will create an image of refinement. Yet, genuine class has never depended on the price of what you wear. It depends on the habits you practice every day. Timeless elegance is not built through occasional shopping trips, but through consistent routines that shape the way you care for yourself. While expensive possessions may capture attention for a moment, disciplined habits earn respect that lasts far longer. People from families that value lasting refinement often grow up learning that maintaining what you already own is more important than constantly acquiring something new. They understand that a well-ironed shirt, polished shoes, neatly maintained hair, and clean clothing always leave a stronger impression than luxury items that appear neglected. They recognize that quality is not simply about cost, but about care. A person who takes pride in keeping simple belongings clean and well-maintained demonstrates responsibility, gratitude, and discipline. Those qualities are far more noticeable than any famous logo. This mindset also protects people from the endless cycle of comparison. In today's world, advertisements and social media encourage the belief that happiness and status are always one purchase away. There is always a newer phone, a more fashionable outfit, or a more expensive fragrance promising to elevate your image. But individuals who focus on habits rather than appearances are not easily influenced by these messages. They understand that confidence built on possessions is fragile because there will always be something newer and more expensive. Confidence built on discipline, however, cannot be taken away by changing trends or public opinion. Still, hygiene routines illustrate this principle perfectly. Brushing your teeth thoroughly every morning and night, washing your face, keeping your nails trimmed, wearing clean clothes, caring for your hair, maintaining fresh breath, and applying a light. Pleasant fragrance are habits available to almost everyone. None of these actions require extraordinary wealth. What they require is commitment. The difference between ordinary and exceptional often lies not in complexity, but in consistency. Repeating these small routines every day creates an appearance of polish that many people mistakenly assume comes from expensive products. These habits also influence how you manage other areas of life. A person who values consistency in personal care often develops the same discipline in managing time, honoring commitments, organizing their surroundings, and pursuing long-term goals. Hygiene becomes more than physical cleanliness. It becomes evidence of a mindset that believes excellence is created through small actions repeated over time. This approach transforms everyday routines into building blocks of character. Every intentional choice reinforces the habit of paying attention to details, and those details eventually shape reputation. Another important lesson is that timeless habits never go out of style. Fashion changes from season to season. Hairstyles evolve. Popular brands rise and fall. Trends that dominate one year are often forgotten the next. But cleanliness, neatness, and thoughtful grooming remain universally respected across generations and cultures. A person who consistently appears fresh, organized, and well cared for will always create a positive impression because these qualities reflect values that never become outdated. They communicate reliability, maturity, and self-respect in a way that temporary trends never can. People often search for dramatic transformations, believing success requires one major breakthrough. In reality, lasting refinement is usually the result of countless ordinary decisions. Choosing to wash and press your clothes instead of leaving them wrinkled. Replacing worn-out personal care items before they become unusable. Spending a few extra minutes each morning checking the small details others might overlook. These actions may seem insignificant on their own, but together they create a powerful image of discipline and quiet confidence. Over months and years, these routines become automatic, forming a lifestyle rather than an effort. Ultimately, the people who leave the strongest impressions are rarely those who spend the most money. They are the ones who consistently demonstrate respect for themselves. Through simple, reliable habits, their appearance reflects order instead of excess, care instead of carelessness, and confidence instead of competition. They understand that true sophistication is never something you wear for a single occasion. It is something you practice every day until it becomes an effortless part of who you are.